region, there are fresh calls for President Akufo-Addo to immediately dissolve the National Cathedral Board of Trustees and order a wider forensic audit into the botched construction. These calls follow the resignation of founder of Action Chapel Churches, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan-Williams, and President of Eastwood Anaba Ministries, Reverend Eastwood Anaba, from the National Cathedral Board of Trustees. They cited failure on the part of the Cathedral's board to appoint an independent accounting firm to audit all public funds contributed to the National Cathedral project. My colleague Kweku Asante joins me via Zoom with details. Kweku, before we talk about the call to dissolve the board, what is contained in the resignation letter of these two men of God? Kweku, kindly unmute for me.
Aisha, this letter from Archbishop Nicholas Duncan-Williams and Reverend Eastwood Anaba points to two things. First, these two men of God say that they tried several attempts to meet the president and to share their concerns, but they could not do so. And let me read specifically what the letter says. It says that you may recall a request for an appointment with you to specifically discuss the National Cathedral of Ghana, a vision of yours that we share and cherish. We truly understand that the demands of the nation and indeed the world have been placed upon your shoulders may have prevented the realization of this meeting. So this meeting that was requested by these two men of God to discuss their concerns with the president did not come up. And because of this, they've put together this letter resigning, and they have specific concerns. They say that they had requested for an audit into some funds that have been paid into the National Cathedral Fund, and a number of issues that have happened around the cathedral. We know that some of the Black in particular have been leading a crusade and have been making claims that there were some irregularities around the construction, and he thought that that forensic audit would be necessary. These two men of God joined the calls and made a similar demand. They say that to the best of their knowledge, they have not seen the findings of the audit. They cannot also confirm if that audit has taken place, and they've been waiting for this report since January of this year, and 10 months down the line, they've not gotten this, and because of this, they have decided that it is better for them to step aside from their roles on the National Cathedral Trustees Board. Not that they do not believe in the vision of the president to erect this National Cathedral, but they believe that a number of these issues have made their continuous stay on the board untenable.
How many people have so far resigned from the board, and which people are currently still on?
Aisha, so these two men of God resigning mean that they joined the founder of the International Central Gospel Church, ICGC, Pastor Mensa Otabil, who was the first to leave the Board of Trustees. Then the founder of Lighthouse Chapel, Lighthouse Churches, Reverend Bishop Duncan-Williams Mills, also resigned. So these two men of God have joined Pastor Mensa Otabil and Duncan-Williams Mills, who had already resigned from the board, bringing to the total four members who have resigned. But still, there are still a number of men of God and other people of means who are still on this board. Apostle Professor Popo Nina, who is former chairman of the Church of Pentecost, is still on the board. Archbishop Charles Palmer-Bakel is still on. Most Reverend Bishop Justice Ofea Kofi is still on. Right Reverend Professor Emmanuel Mate, the former moderator of the Presbyterian Church, is still on. We also have one other, Most Reverend T.K. Awashi Pratt, who is still on. Reverend Dr. Joyce Ayi, Executive Director of the Salt and Light Ministry, is still on. And then Reverend Victor Kusiboate, the founder of the Power Chapel Worldwide, is still a member. Reverend Dr. Frimpong Manso, a former General Superintendent of the Assemblies of God, is still on. And then finally, Kingsley Ofosu in Tiamoa, who's the Executive Director of the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board, are still. These are the persons who are still on the National Cathedral Board of Trustees.
So what's the current state of the construction, Kweku?
We know that over the last few months, running into years now, no work has been done on the side of the National Cathedral because the state has run out of money. The Cathedral Secretariat have also run out of money. The expectations that a number of donations will come in have not come in since that started. And because of that, construction have halted. In fact, a few months ago, we saw a notice from the contractors who are undertaking this construction, instructing that the employees are relieved of their duties with the exception of a few security men who are still on site to protect the facility. So as of now, for so many months now, there's not been construction work at the site, although there were some excavations at the site to make way for the foundation to be laid. That has not been done because of the lack of funds. And we know that as of now, more than 200 million Ghana cedis have been sunk into the project, but the project is yet to actually take off in terms of the real building on the site.
Tell us about the calls to dissolve the Board of Trustees and to halt the construction.
First, that has come from Sabalo Kujita Blakwa, who says that this is time for deeper introspection about this whole National Cathedral project and the concerns that Ghanaians have shared about that project. Some Ghanaians, I must say, and that although there are people like the president who believe that this project must go ahead, it is clear that for so many years now, the project has not been able to make any substantial progress. And they, in the minority, are demanding a forensic audit. In fact, before Parliament went on break, they actually approved a resolution to investigate the National Cathedral Board. It was just a committee that was not set up. There's an expectation that when Parliament resumes, that committee will be put in place to investigate the construction of that National Cathedral. We've also heard from Adam Senano, who says that if you look at the very prominent men of God who are on this Board of Trustees, it makes it a bit difficult for the president to dissolve it, because if you dissolve it, then going forward, how do you get to work with them? And so he says that the president would have to navigate this quite carefully, but he insists, like many people, that because of the controversy the National Cathedral has been embroiled in since it was announced and since construction began, it is clear that there is some deeper introspection that must be done, and the funding model must be re-looked at so that if it's a Christian community and other well-meaning Ghanaians who want to support the project, they can do so and support the construction of the project so that the state can wash its hands of the project.
Kwekwa Sante is with the legal desk. He brought us those details. Let's